How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, we're going to be talking about the Double Game Week 24 preview. I waited and released the team selection yesterday because I actually wanted to get more news on the potential doubles and blanks coming up, which is going to be the main topic of this video, but little to my knowledge, I would come back and have so many injuries to my FPL side and also to other FPL options. So in this video, we're going to be talking about a combination of the upcoming blanks and double game weeks. That's going to be the main talking point, but we're also going to be touching on what to do with these injured players, especially Dominic Calvert-Lewin, as it does seem like he's going to be missing out for the upcoming game weeks. We're finally going to talk about our captaincy because this week it's a really interesting debate with those double game week players, but then also players like Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford with quite a good single game week. So if that's something you're interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So to start off the preview, we're always going to be talking about our watch list. So I have updated the watch list with 2 new entries. I'm not going to be talking about Danny Ings too much because I will be touching on him a little bit later on in the video, especially when you talk about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But the player I have added here is going to be Rafinha. I think I could add Rafinha to the watch list just for that little piece of skill he put on Kale in that Crystal Palace fixture. But Rafinha is just passing the eye test on every single level. I would have liked for him to maybe get some more returns against Crystal Palace, but he was still in and around the box there. He managed to get an assist for that Bamford goal, which you could argue he was a little bit unlucky not to score himself, but for that upcoming double game week for Leeds next game week, Rafinha is definitely on my horizon. With players like Souček having tough fixtures after this game week, I could easily make that switch to him and then just go up with a triple up on Leeds, and because Leeds have some nice fixtures after that double as well, I think that I could also consider him. 5.3, low budget option there, not much risk involved with the Leeds midfielder, and for 4 goals, 5 assists, played a lot of minutes. I'm expecting Rafinha to carry on this form that he has had. The nice thing about Rafinha is towards the start of the season, maybe not picking up the most returns, but in the latter part of the season, he's definitely shined, and that Leeds side seems to have turned over a new leaf and are actually playing quite well recently. And then finally, we do have Rudiger, so I could have added Rudiger's goal there. You see he's got 0 goals, but he did go and score in the previous game week. It was an own goal, but I still think you have to praise that quality finish past Mendy. But in all seriousness, 4.6 million for a Chelsea defender is quite cheap, considering they are considered more of a premium defense. I know recently defensively they haven't been that great, but I still am expecting some good things from Chelsea from now to the end of the season, and 4.6 for a cheap budget defender is not too much risk involved there, and I do think that he can pick up a couple clean sheets in the upcoming game week. So these are the 3 in the watch list. Haven't gone into too much depth here because there are more important things to cover in this preview. So the main topic of this video is going to be the game week schedule. We're going to be talking about double game week 26. We're going to be talking about blank game week 29. So right off the bat, shout out to Ben Krellin. He's getting an absolute massive amount of support recently, and he deserves every single bit of it. He just sets out the double and the blank schedule so easily for us that it actually makes FPL easy for those managers that do follow him. So if you're not following him on Twitter at Ben Krellin, go drop him a follow and also a comment of support there for just the work that he has done. This image comes straight from his Twitter account. This is his latest, most up-to-date schedule. There are fixtures still happening tonight. The main one, Wolves vs Southampton, so that game is still going ahead tonight. So there will be some repercussions because of that fixture. It'll kind of determine if Southampton do have a fixture. Wolves already have a confirmed blank, so if Wolves do win, we could still have a fixture in game week 29 for Southampton, but if Southampton do win, they will definitely not have a fixture. But as I said, this is the most up-to-date schedule as of now. As of recording this video, the game week 26 doubles have not been confirmed yet, and there is quite a small probability that they will be confirmed before that double game week 24 deadline. I think next week before that double game week 25 fixture, we will be having those confirmed double game week 26, but they do have a high likeliness. So throughout this section, I will try and talk a little bit slower because I know that I generally do talk quite quickly, and we're going to be going into a lot of detail here. So as I mentioned, game week 24, game week 25, both of those are confirmed doubles, but the game week 26 doubles have not been confirmed yet. However, the fixtures represented in brown/gold have a high likeliness of them being a double. So 90 to 99% chance is predicted by Ben Krellin that these fixtures will be a double. So you can basically take it as correctness. There might be some variation. You can see there for a team like Spurs, they face Burnley in the first game week, but then in the second game week of double game week 26, they have a variation of Aston Villa, Fulham, or Southampton. So that just depends on a couple of things. One, the fixture scheduling. It depends on what the Premier League want to do. And then obviously it also depends on Southampton if they do win that fixture or if they do lose tonight against Wolves. So just keep that in mind. I just take the fixture that happens tonight and just incorporate it, or just go to Ben Krellen's Twitter page and he'll probably post the most updated schedule to date straight off his Twitter account, and you can simply just interpret that. We do have some other doubles that are likely. In orange there, 65 to 85% chance. That's a likely double game week, but that could not happen. And then in blue, we have a possible double game week, which has a 1 to 40% chance. So the only thing I'll be taking as gospel in this transfer planner is going to be those brown/gold fixtures, because you don't really want to take a chance and prepare for an orange or a blue double game week and then it doesn't end up happening. So we'll just be focusing on that double game week 26 brown fixtures and also the blank. So the thing about the blank is right now there doesn't seem to be a lot of fixtures taking place. We have about 4 fixtures. That could always change with that Southampton fixture tonight. But the thing with blank game week 29 that you have to keep in your mind and also prepare for is if you're using your second wildcard after that blank, or if you're using it before, that's going to have a high impact on the amount of players you have in that blank. If you are wildcarding right now in the foreseeable future, I would highly recommend getting a transfer plan out to make sure that you have at least an adequate amount of players going into that blank game week 29. If you don't want any players, that can simply be your strategy. Maybe you don't think that it's going to be a high scoring blank, and then you can just go with 6 or 5 players. But if you want to have a good adequate amount, I always recommend about 8 players. That seems to be quite a good sweet spot, and that's why I'm planning to use my second wildcard in game week 30, because I'm going to have a lot of players that I don't necessarily want for blank game week 29. I'm going to be taking out players from Man City, from Liverpool, from Spurs, because they might not have a fixture, and that's going to leave me with an absolute dire squad going to game week 30. So game week 30 right now does look like the week I'll be using my second wildcard. I've been having a lot of comments about it, and I am going to be releasing a video that goes a little bit more in depth into chip strategies next week before double game week 25 to just give you guys a nice in-depth analysis of it. But as I mentioned, double game week 26 and blank game week 29 are the focus. We've spoken about blank game week 29. Double game week 26 is probably where I'll be looking if you are looking for free transfers, if you're looking for your transfer plans. I think double game week 26 is going to be an absolutely massive double game week, and hopefully the potential for FPL points is going to be a lot higher. Game week 24, game week 25, they still do have doubles, but I don't really favor the fixtures in those, whereas we do have some nice alternatives in double game week 26. I mean, Spurs, they face Burnley, Aston Villa, Fulham, or Southampton. We have some also good options for Aston Villa. I mean, imagine they face Leeds and Sheffield United. That could be quite a good one. I think this is probably the game week that I would be using if I was to use my transfer plan and if I was to use my bench boost. So those of you who still have your bench boost, target double game week 26, as I think the potential for points is a lot higher in that one. But this is basically the game week schedule that I will be focusing on. When I do refer to the fixtures and the lineup, I will be referring to this schedule. So just pause it, take a screenshot, just go to Ben Krellen's Twitter, whatever you do, but please use this when you are planning future free transfers and future moves. So now going on to the second talking point, which is of high importance, it's what to do with injuries. So in this FA Cup schedule, we have had a massive amount of injuries, and that's just the ones that we know about. I mean, there have been teams that haven't played in the FA Cup. They've had training throughout the whole week. Maybe there's injuries in that. So the first thing I will say to you guys is that please watch the press conferences. You don't have to look at every single press conference. Maybe just come on Twitter at the end of the day and just get a nice summary of who's going to be playing. One of the good Twitter accounts to follow is Ben Dinnery, because he does post about the injured players and he does post with a little bit of insight. So he's a good source to kind of look for a summary of the injured players. But we have got a massive amount of injuries. We've got Lucas Digne, we've got DCL, we also have Callum Wilson. So Callum Wilson is a confirmed injury as of recording this video. He should be out for about 6 to 8 weeks, I think. And then also with Calvert-Lewin. So the latest news that I could get on Calvert-Lewin was that he was having a scan today, and I'm pretty sure we'll get the results of those tomorrow. So watch Ancelotti's press conference, see if he announces that DCL is going to be out for the foreseeable future. And as you know, Everton have a double game week coming up, so that's going to be a high priority transfer out if he's going to be missing a couple of weeks. The other injuries that we also have heard of is Antonio from West Ham, but he seems to have recovered from that injury. And then you also have Nick Pope. As of recording this video, I think that Sean Dyche is doing his press conference as I'm recording, so just keep your eyes on that. I will post it down in the comments below if he said anything about him, but I'm pretty sure he'll just come out and say that it's a yet to be seen and that he might not feature on the weekend. So that could be a consideration if those of you who are captaining him or want to bring him in. I haven't made any transfers because I knew something like this could happen, so keep those transfers for as late as possible, and then we will have as much news as possible. But that's my recommendation. Just wait and see. Wait as long as possible for those transfers, as the press conferences should give us some good insights. Talking of Calvert-Lewin, I mentioned that he was going for a scan today, and my general thinking behind it is a player usually goes for a scan if something's wrong. So I don't think he's going to be fit for this weekend, and that weekend fixture is against Fulham, and in that double game week 24, they face Fulham and they face Man City. So you can understand why I really wanted to target that Fulham Fulham fixture. You still can target that Fulham fixture. If you want to go for a straight swap, you can go for someone like Richarlison. My recommendation would be use the transfer planner. I've tried to include those gold/brown fixtures here that have been confirmed for Double Game Week 26. Just give you guys some insight into the potential fixtures that these strikers might have. So we've already touched on Richarlison a little bit, but the one thing I also want to add is that if you look at that fixture schedule, Everton have a good potential for a lot of upcoming doubles. So they have a double Game Week 24, but then also have a potential for a double Game Week 26. So if Calvert-Lewin was back from his injury and could play this weekend, I definitely would be keeping him for the foreseeable future. But if he is out for a couple of weeks, you could also look at Richarlison. The only thing about Richarlison is that he's not having the best of season. I think he scored 2 goals this entire season, which is not really what you want from your striking options. But as I said, they have some good fixtures coming up. Maybe if you even want to bench Calvert-Lewin, if you have a good enough bench, you can simply just do that and hope that he recovers for that double Game Week 26. The next player here is my no-brainer pick. If you don't have Bamford from Leeds, you definitely should be getting him. The reason being, he has a double Game Week coming up in double Game Week 25, and he's just such a good option because of the way Leeds play. They simply are attack, attack, attack. We saw that on Monday evening against Crystal Palace. Even though they were 2-0 up, they simply just go for the kill always, and they simply attack to the last minute, and that's why I really do favor Bamford. Also, he's picked up a little bit of form here, and he is an FPL manager himself. So I reckon if he captains himself, he's going to be shooting on sight most of the time, and that only will hopefully lead to more FPL points. The next option is my favorite option if you want to look at a Man United asset, and that's going to be Edison Cavani. So Edison Cavani's also picked up a little bit of form there. United are playing well from an attacking point of view, and with those next 2 upcoming fixtures against West Bromwich Albion and also against Newcastle at home, I think that that's definitely a pick that you should be looking at. So I know he doesn't have a double game week in Game Week 24, 25, but that doesn't mean that we should be ignoring a single game week player, and I really do think that Cavani has a good potential over these next 2 single game weeks to get a good haul. In Game Week 26, they do also have a double against Chelsea and Crystal Palace. Now, while those 2 fixtures might not be the best in the world, it is a double game week, and Cavani can score against anyone. Finally, we're going to be talking about Danny Ings, because Danny Ings also has a double in double Game Week 25 alongside Bamford. So the next couple fixtures look a little bit tough for Southampton, but if they can get back onto that form that they had previously in the season, I do think that Danny Ings has the potential and quality to score a couple of FPL points over these next couple game weeks. So Danny Ings could be someone to look at. I probably would stick to Bamford or Cavani. If you want to go for a real punt, maybe Richarlison, if you really want to get those upcoming doubles from Everton. So now going on to our final talking point of the video, it's going to be revolving around captaincy, and as I mentioned, it's a really interesting week for the captaincy. So the safe option, and the one that I'm kind of a little bit swayed by, is Bruno Fernandes. I mean, this week leading up to double Game Week 24 has been all over the place. I might just think to go with a simple safe option, and that's going to be Bruno Fernandes against West Bromwich Albion. I think if you are considering captaining Nick Pope, you should also consider captaining Bruno Fernandes, because I think the ceiling and the floor for both of these 2 players should be quite similar. I know that Pope does have 2 fixtures, but he is a goalkeeper and Bruno Fernandes is an outfield player, so I think the potential for a higher ceiling is definitely on Bruno Fernandes' side. But I think the standout captaincy option, and if you do own Raheem Sterling, you got to be going for him. I know in the last couple previews I've been mentioning Sterling a lot, but I think if you do own him, there's no reason not to captain him. Came off at that 50-minute mark in the FA Cup fixture, so you should be looking at Raheem Sterling. If you don't own Sterling, the same kind of gratitude transfers to another Man City outfielder. That's going to be Gundogan. If you own Foden, if you own Jesus, you can always look at those options, but I think I'd be looking at Gundogan or Sterling. Now that Rodri was injured in that FA Cup fixture, there's been some talks about Gundogan potentially playing a little bit deeper, playing as that holding centre midfielder, but we could see Fernandinho come back from that a little bit of an injury scare. I don't think he's got an injury right now. It's just that he can't play 2 fixtures in a week, which is a little bit worrying with the doubles coming up for Man City. So you might take a little bit of a punt there on Gundogan, just maybe hope in the game week that he does play a little bit more forward. He absolutely bangs, and then you'll always take a 3-point appearance from the next one. But I think Raheem Sterling, 100% my favorite option. I think between Gundogan, Bruno Fernandes, and Pope, there's not going to be too much in it, but Bruno Fernandes definitely has the highest ceiling in my opinion. So now going on to the next phase of captaincy, as we've been doing in the most recent previews, I've gone over to Fantasy Football Hub and I've checked on the predictions. So this is the predictions for the highest point scorers in double Game Week 24. The double Game Week players are obviously leading the way here, as they probably have the highest ceiling. And there you can have it. Sterling, the number 1 captaincy option by quite a high margin actually. 1.9 points is the highest I've seen on this predictor tool. And the next couple options are all from Man City as well. We've got Jesus, we've got Gundogan. And then I also wanted to include Cancelo and Pope. So Cancelo was not the next best best option. I think it was actually Foden, so you could also look at Foden, but Cancelo and Pope could be recommendations. They're owned by quite a lot of people in the FPL community, so I wanted to show you what the predictions were for these two players. So Sterling number 1, I think Gundogan could be a nice second player, but if you want to go for Cancelo, you're not worried about some rotation. You also must remember that he was rested in the FA Cup, so there could be a potential for Cancelo to start both game weeks. But then also with Nick Pope, he could be a safe option, but I think he might be a little bit boring, and now watch him go and score a hat-trick in both games, and then I'm suddenly going to be looking like the boring one. But I think from a Man City point of view, you definitely have to just go for an option that you do own. So this is basically a wrap for the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like it if you did, and subscribe if you're new and have not subscribed yet. Drop comments down below if you have any questions about the video, or if you have any questions about your own team or FPL in general. I'll be covering them after I release this, so drop them down below. I'll be checking you guys hopefully for a deadline with Dayvy stream on Saturday, otherwise on my Twitter page, and I'm going to be signing off. This has been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.